My neighborhood has its roots in residential architecture built in the late 1800s through the early 1900s. As our local university expanded starting in the mid-century, 1950-ish, the town experienced an infill of student housing buildings which began to change the neighborhood. By the beginning of the 2000s, the city enacted preservation ordinances to try to retain what remained of the original character of this historic single-family residential area. But multifamily and student housing buildings were still needed. One architect solved this problem brilliantly. The architect, not me, one of my colleagues, was commissioned to replace this multi-tenant home with a 6-unit apartment building. The property was surrounded by single-family homes. This is what the architect came up with. Here's what I think the architect did right. First, it's easy to notice that the scale or the size of the new structure relative to its surroundings is appropriate. It does not tower over or appear to significantly outsize the nearby homes. And look at the exterior colors. This contrasting color does much for this building. It adds interest, reduces the feeling of massiveness, and it brings attention to the entry. And these design choices combine to make the building feel more approachable. Architects refer to this as giving human scale to the building. The judicious use of texture on the faux block and brick elements adds interest and visually reduces the perception of mass. This is another way to give human scale to a structure. Commercial buildings often locate the parking in front of the building. However, in this case, the designer located the off-street parking for residents at the back of the building. Placing the parking in the back retains that typically residential pattern of having a front yard. And to be honest, it does my little architect heart good to see that the street-facing design is continued on all sides of the building, creating a stable and cohesive presence. So this architect was given a task to develop a commercial building in a residential neighborhood. To my knowledge, it has not won any design awards or made it into any high-end architectural publications. Nevertheless, I am very proud that this apartment building is part of my neighborhood. I'm thrilled that through the thoughtful use of design principles, they created a building that respects the residential area where it was built. It fits, it belongs, it adds beauty to my world. And to me, this is architecture at its finest. Happy building.
Working on a building, working on a building.